What up, everyone? So, another special little video here. We're pretty late into January now, and the boxes of January are just now starting to come. But someone asked me a question today via Twitter, and they asked my opinion about a certain series and what I thought about all the announcements that Funko made today. And if I was going to make a video on it or not. And usually I wouldn't do that, but I thought, why not? I've been getting a lot of discussions going lately, so I thought maybe I'll talk about this one. If those of you who don't know, all day today, as in Monday, it'll be Tuesday when I post this video, but all day today, Funko was posting announcements because it was the London Toy Fair. So Funko was there, and they showed a bunch of stuff that's coming up for the year, and then they posted on their little news feed, their blog, all the stuff they announced that's going to be coming out the next year. So they've been totally spamming with all this stuff. There's a ton of stuff that they posted on there. So I thought I'd go through some of them and talk about it, get your guys' thoughts, and see what you're excited about. And one of the reasons I'm posting this right away is because I just did the About Me video, and one of the last questions that was asked was, what are you looking forward to in the next year? And I said nothing. And that's because Funko hadn't really announced too much for the following year. And then, of course, like within hours of me posting that, they're all announcing all kinds of shit. So I want to talk about a few of them, thoughts and things I might be excited for. And then I want to hear what you guys are excited for, what you think about certain series and stuff like that. And I'm really glad Funko did this, because the past year, I remember in 2014 or 15, something like that, yeah, they did a toy fair, and then that's when they showed like all the sci-fi ones that were coming out, and some of the horror mystery minis, like those first series. They showed them in books, and then last year they didn't do that. They didn't have any of that stuff that they were going to be releasing, which is so stupid of them, because it's cool to see that stuff, to get hyped about it. You want to get excited for it. You want to know what's coming up, so it's good that they show that stuff. And this year they definitely did, so that's good. I'm glad they did that. So the one thing I've been kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are is it seems like Funko is running out of ideas a little bit. They've been a bit weird about like pop figures, that they've never really recycled stuff. They always release like the same character, but it's always for a new iteration of something. Like they will post, they'll make a pop figure of Batman, but they'll do it like from different Batman, and they'll do it for a new video game or a new movie. They kind of keep it up to date. And from what I can tell, they've done it a few times, but they really haven't like gone back and re-released like all the pop figures from the past. And it seems like they're doing more and more like narrow niche market stuff. And that's a lot of what I saw. It was a lot of either like very old franchises, or it was stuff that's like I know of that's popular but not super popular, like very limited market stuff, which seems kind of odd that that's what they're doing. And I hope this isn't all the stuff for 2017. I hope this is just the stuff they have in the works, because there's a lot of things I didn't see on there that I'm super bummed I didn't see. So let's start from the most recent one they posted. And they posted some Space Jam pops. And here's a perfect example of, it's a pretty old movie. It's like a good 20 years old, something like that. And, it was a cool movie. I loved that movie as a kid. And who didn't love the Space Jam song? It was totally awesome song. But it's like, is there a huge following for Space Jam these days? Like, I don't think there is a huge back following up to this day. I still think they look cool. I think they did a good job. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. But it's just like, that's what I mean, where it's like, how many people are still interested in Space Jam to this day? Like, how popular is it really? But it's still cool to see. I think it's cool that they bring that back. They showed off some of the Looney Tunes doors, which I thought looked really cool. I like those ones. I like the Daffy and I like the Bugs. I think they did a good job on those. I'm much more excited for those Dorbs than I am for the Pop figures. I don't think they look as good, but I think the Dorbs look really cool. I kind of like those series. So I thought that was really cool. Something else that someone specifically asked what my opinion was on it was the mystery miniseries they're doing on the retro video games. And I'll tell you guys the same person I told on Twitter, and essentially it's that really cool concept, really cool idea. I really like that. That's a really awesome mystery mini series. And even, I'm looking at the picture, I'll show you guys, even the boxes for it, like, are decorated like different arcade, the different arcade boxes, forget cabinet, from like back in the day. So that's really cool concept, but their execution I'm not so sure on. Now, I told the person on Twitter the same thing. What you're seeing in this picture is not the finished product. These are still 3D models. So this is not the actual figure you're seeing. This is just a basic 3D design of it. It'll look very similar to it, but it's the same problem we have with like the X-Men mystery minis. You look at the picture on the box and it's like, oh man, that looks fucking dope. And then you open it up and you're like, what is this shit? Like, who made this? and I have a very, very strong feeling that these are going to be the same thing. I can tell just by the 3D design and the way they're designing it, it's not going to be very high detail. They're not going to be painted. It's going to be all colored plastic and stick-on faces. So that's what it looks like. Like the centipede looks a little bit detailed. There are some that look decently detailed, but a lot of them don't. They look like they're just one color. There's no gradient of any kind, and it looks like they mostly just have the stick-on eyes, which is a real shame. And that's why I'm like, I think it's a cool concept, but I don't know if these will be good at all. So unfortunately, that's kind of what it is. And it looks like there's only 12 in the series. Yeah, something like that. So it may be all common ones, but this seems like it's going to be a lot like the X-Men mystery minis, where they're just very simplistic. It's just colored plastic. It's not going to be anything like they do Horror and Walking Dead, where it's like really well sculpted and painted and stuff like that. It seems like they're going to go the cheap route on this. So like I said, a cool concept, but I think they're not going to put a lot of time, effort, or money into this series, which is a real shame. I think that's a really sad thing to see, because I genuinely do think it's a really cool concept. When I saw that, I was pretty excited, but when I looked closer, I'm like, well, that may be rough. But you know, hey, don't listen to me. I could be totally wrong. I could be 100% wrong on this. I'm just going off of what I've seen from the past and what I've known for Funko the past like 5 years, and it seems like that's what it's going to be. So only time will tell. We'll see when they come out, but I'll be here to say I told you so when I review the series. So we'll wait and see. But still, really cool concept. Not too bad. Other things, they had a lot of video game stuff, a lot of television shows, which I'm not super excited for. That's where, I mean, it's a little bit narrower market. They did have Tekken, though, and I don't know if they've done Tekken before. I can't remember if they ever have. I'm not a huge Tekken fan, but that's a popular franchise. Like, I can see that going with that. So, yeah, those look decently cool. Again, there's not like an amazing amount of detail on them, but they look decent. I think any Tekken fan would be excited to get them. But a lot of the other stuff was like TV show stuff and, like, again, narrower market stuff, more current TV shows, which I'm just don't have time for. I would check them out, but I don't. Another series I've actually really excited about that I've gotten into a lot in the past like week, and I'm going to do a review of them, is the Pint-Sized Heroes. They've been around for a long time, and when I first saw them I thought that was such a stupid idea, but now that I've been collecting them a little bit, I think they're really cool. I really like them. They're very small and they're very cheap in price, and the design on them is very simplistic. It's not complicated, it's not high detail, but intentionally so. It's not like X-Men Mystery Minis where it's like they want it to look cool and they just did a bad job. These ones are specifically meant to look simplistic, just like the Dorbs. And honestly, I think this is what Dorbs should have been, this size, because I really like Dorbs. I like the series, but they're a little big considering how minimal detail they have. I think they should have just done them all this way, and they're really honestly very cool. And the reason I bring it up is because I saw a new series they're doing, and that's Disney Heroes, which I really like these Dorbs. I don't know why. It's just, they're cool, they fit perfectly on these shelves, they're a good representation, they have a lot of different characters, and they do decently well on the paint job and the sculpt of them, even though it's purposely simplistic. I still really like them. I don't know. I didn't at first, and now I'm really getting into them. But the Disney ones, it's really cool, because they have all the basic same body. They kind of look like Weebles, if anyone remembers those. And then they all have different shaped heads. So, honestly, people say they don't like Dorbs and they like Pop figures, but it's like, there's really not much there, like, detail-wise, like Pops versus Dorbs. There are exceptions that some Pops get really detailed, but most of the Pop figures are just about as simplistic as Dorbs. So I don't know why there's such a differentiation. I like them both. But I think the Disney concept is a really good idea. I'm not a huge fan of the characters they picked. Like, obviously, I like Mickey. He's really cool. And Beast looks badass. Buzz Lightyear. But they did quite a few from Jungle Book, which I think was okay. And then, like, Ursula and Little Mermaid, I'm like, eh. And, like, Minnie Mouse, I'm like, And Belle. Like, the Disney princesses I never care about because they all look the same half the time. But some of them look cool, like Beast and, what was his name from Toy Story? Zorg? Something like that. But yeah, he looks cool too, so it's just a fun little series. Like, for something on the cheap, they're not as expensive as Mystery Minis, which can be like $6 to $8. They're like $3 or $4. It's just a fun little thing to pick up and just like hang out and put somewhere. They're not like crazy expensive. I don't think they're ever going to be super collectible or worth anything, but it's still just a fun little series. And there was another one coming up too. Oh yeah, here's the next one. Street Fighter ones. These ones look dope. These are cool. I really like these. And I guess it's kind of the juxtaposition of, like, what these characters look like when they're drawn in the video games and what they look like here. Because Street Fighter characters are all like buffed out and they're all brawny and cool and stuff like that. And then it's just funny to see them as these little tiny pint-sized heroes, just like super simplistic and kind of a little chubby looking, to be quite honest. I think it's funny. I think they look funny and I think they look entertaining. And I'm totally getting these Street Fighter ones because they got a little tiny Akuma in there and he looks awesome. I think he looks so badass. Because there's been no Akuma to this date. It's so weird. They haven't done mystery minis of Street Fighter, and they did the pop ones, but there's no Akuma. He was my favorite. Like, why is there no Akuma? That's so weird. So yeah, I'm super psyched for these little pint-sized heroes. It's a fun series to collect because they're so cheap. But yeah, that's the only thing I was like legit excited for. I don't know when it's coming out, 2017 sometime, whatever. But yeah, let's see what else we got. So we got some more mystery minis. Not a lot on the mystery minis end, which I think is kind of odd. They're doing the DC TV, which is very popular. Not my personal taste, but at least I recognize the characters. But again, they don't even have the 3D models of these, they just have the 2D models, and it looks like the same situation. It doesn't look like they're going high-end. It doesn't look like they're going with the Type A, the good kind. It looks like they're going with Type B. And that's the same way they did the original DC ones. Not the Batman Arkham Asylum, those were dope, but the original DC Mystery Minis, it looks like they're going with that style, which again is fine. Like, they don't look bad, they did a decent job, they just don't look cool, they don't look good. It's like not high-end, it's not detailed, but it's also not overly simplistic like the pint-sized heroes. It's just that weird in between. It's like, okay, like, there you go. If you really like that figure, then awesome, but other than that, it's like, But again, this is only concept. You never know. They could totally flip a 180 and do some crazy detailed, and if they do, I might check them out. So if they do anything more like the Arkham Asylum ones, I'm totally down for it. Even if I'm not in love with those characters, that series was dope as fuck, man. I didn't even like every character from that, and I collected all of them, even the exclusive ones, because they did such a great job on them. They were so cool. Alright, oh, here's one I really liked, and that's probably the only pop figures I was excited for was the Nicktoons one, the 90s Nicktoons. I know a lot of you have seen the Nicktoons box, and I've been meaning to check that out. I saw Johnny Tejaz doing his, and it looks really cool. So I grew up in the 90s, so I'm a fan of all of these. But yeah, they looked really cool. Specifically Cat Dog. I was actually never a huge Cat Dog fan when I was a kid. I didn't watch it that much. But the pop figure, again, it's only showing two-dimensional design, but I have a feeling that's going to look really cool. I think he'll be a cool design. And I'm not sure if they'll be able to fit him in a standard box because he's long, so I'm kind of curious. Like, maybe they'll do a sideways window box, or maybe he'll be like a bigger double one. I'm kind of curious what he'll end up looking like. I think he'll look really cool, though. I'm pretty interested to see what the end concept will look like. And then they have the Real Monsters one. I think Crumb looked pretty cool. And then they have Rugrats. Like, Reptar would look pretty badass. I would assume they'd do him in like a 6-inch. Maybe they won't, though. I can't remember what it said on the site. But yeah, I always liked Reptar. I thought he was a cool character. I think he'd be a really cool pop as well. So I think that's a pretty cool concept. And I think a lot of people will like the 90s Nicktoons one. So yeah, that's all the things I had notes on that I took a little screenshot of. Those are the ones that caught my interest. I was not crazy into them, but they had so many posts, and that's all I was interested in. That's what I'm saying. Like, there just wasn't that much good stuff, and I can't imagine that's all of the stuff they have. I really can't imagine that's all of their 2017, because that's not that much, really. I think it's just what they have greenlit for early 2017 moving on. Because one thing I saw missing from there, and I don't know for sure if it's ever going to come, is Sci-Fi Series 3. Like, I would be livid if they didn't do a Series 3. I loved Series 1, I loved Series 2, and I've heard no word from Series 3. Last year, 2015, the sci-fi and horror ones came out back-to-back. It was like October, November, and it was like Halloween and November 1st. It kind of sucked, actually, because it was just like breaking everyone's wallets that wanted both series. But I still see the Sci-Fi Series 2 out here today, like a year and a half later. So maybe it didn't sell that well, but I really can't imagine it not. Like, who didn't love that series? There were so many good franchises, and they did such a good job on them. They did amazing on them. So I can't imagine the horror ones doing like that much better than the sci-fi ones. I think sci-fi reaches a wider market. Like, horror fans like the horror, but sci-fi, I think, reaches so many different types of people that I couldn't imagine that not being that popular. So there's been no word whatsoever on a Sci-Fi Series 3, and I hope to God they do, because everyone wants a Marty McFly to go with their Doc Brown. Like, they can't just have Doc Brown, dude. You gotta have Marty McFly on his hoverboard. And there's so many sci-fi series they haven't touched on that would be super badass. I heard rumors that they can't do Terminator. I don't remember why, but someone mentioned that. But if they can, I totally want that. Arnold Schwarzenegger with, like, the torn-off face, or, like, the T-800. Like, I'm so psyched for that series that I just have all these ideas, but I really hope that they don't miss that opportunity, because most of the mystery minis out there suck, man. Most of them are garbage. You guys remember the extra ones I did a review on? Total crap, man. But these, they actually do a good job. And it's so many different movies, so I can't imagine them stopping the horror ones either. So I hope they eventually do a Series 4 sometime this year. But yeah, I really hope they do Series 3, but I saw no mention of it. So that's why I go back to, I don't imagine this is everything for 2017. But yeah, those are the things I'm looking for. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think the same thing about the series I brought up? Do they look crappy, or do you think they'll do a good job on it? Or do you think they'll do the normal Funko thing and make it cheap? And also, what things were you excited for? Go to their blog on Funko.com and look through all the announcements and see what looks good to you guys. And we'll get a little discussion going down below. And if there's anyone out there that has any inside knowledge about maybe a Sci-Fi Series 3, like, hook it up in the comments. Let us know. Like, even a rumor that you've heard about, like, let's talk about it. Like, I want to know, and I want to hear all about it. Anyway, this is just a quick little fun video I wanted to do, and I wanted to make it current because it wouldn't have made sense to do it like a week later. So we'll go right back to the unboxings after this. Got lots of boxes for January. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought, and thank you for watching. See you in the month of January. Love y'all. Peace.